Hello and a very warm welcome to all my graceful audience. This is Rehmat Empowerment Wala presenting you your favorite podcast, Empowering Minds. The concept behind Empowering Minds is to call upon such prestigious guests who haven't just explored their own mindset but are trying to empower other minds too. So, to serve the purpose, we have with us James Saunders from Henderson, Nevada. Uh, uh, he is here to empower our minds tonight, and I'm very thankful to him that he has spared his valuable time for this platform, for this podcast. And let me introduce James a little bit. So he's an entrepreneur. He is a former drill sergeant at U.S. Army Reserves. He's a former MP instructor and drill sergeant at United States Army. He also studied criminal justice at University of Arkansas Grantham. He lives with us from Henderson, Nevada, USA. So let's jump towards James and ask about his health and thank him for his appearance in Empowering Minds tonight. So James, very warm welcome to you and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So James, I have introduced you a little bit, and I would love to hear in your words about yourself a little bit more.
Fine. Um, it was 1978, a long time ago, and I was about 20 years old. That was about, my God, that was 46 years ago.
Yes, definitely it was.
So I was looking, I was like, what am I going to do? I had been a taxi cab driver. I
Okay.
had worked these different jobs since being out of high school because I actually graduated high school in 1976
Okay.
at the age of 18. So now I'm looking around. I said, "What?" I I moved up to carrying around a sketchbook. I drew and I painted
Okay.
everything: humans, dogs, cats, cars, homes, trees. I did everything. And I thought I was going to do that for the rest of my life. But suddenly I'm from Hollis, Queens, New York.
Okay.
I'm actually from Hollis, Queens, New York initially. So I'm
Yes.
I'm going around Manhattan and there's this gentleman. He had 5 dogs,
Okay.
all off leash. This is New York City. People are
Okay.
walking around. They're trying to get the dogs to move. The dog's not moving. And he told each dog to sit still. And they just sat there. And I said to myself, man, I know I want to be an artist. I know I want to draw and paint. But I would absolutely love to learn how to do that, you know? So I went home, not even asking my mother or father. I took out a $1,900 loan and I paid
Okay.
for school for 6 weeks. No, 6 weeks, yeah, to learn how to train dogs. I did that. My decision at the age of 19. And I look at that now, I said, if my son or daughter did that now, I would be upset. But that's what I did. And I ended up really doing well in the class. I did so well in the class that the instructor hired me to work for her.
Wow.
And so now I go to New Jersey. I barely have a driver's license, but I managed to get a
Oh,
driver's license. And I go to New Jersey and I'm working for her. I'm teaching puppy classes, teaching dog classes. We're working with St. Bernards and Great Danes and Doberman Pinschers, all types of dogs. I didn't have any fear. So I'm working with her. So suddenly I needed to borrow money from her because I had a car problem. And she was bothering me about my car. You got that money that I lent you yet? I just got the money from you yesterday. She made me angry. So I quit.
Okay.
I quit. It would have been a mess in that kennel. But the next day, I'm sure it was a mess in that kennel. I'm sure it was a mess in that kennel. But I
It
quit.
was. Okay.
And I but see, I've been trained, and I thought, where can I learn to take a dog? Can I use this as a job? So I went to this guy. He was he was an army recruiter. I went to him. I said, I see you. Is there as an army recruiter? Do you guys have any jobs that a person like me could do with a dog? He said, yeah, I do. You could be a military policeman. Military police.
Okay.
What the hell is that? Military policeman? What is that? That's a cop. You want to make me a police officer? A cop? And I was afraid, right? Yeah, he'd be a police officer. And maybe, just maybe, you would be selected to be a military police dog handler. Now, he said maybe. Wasn't even 100%. I said, okay, I'll do that. So I went to basic training. This was 1979. I was 21. And I went to basic training. Push-ups, sit-ups, running, being yelled at, all the stuff. I dealt with it for actually I dealt with it for 6 weeks. And I was selected to be
Okay.
a military police dog handler. I was overjoyed. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. This is amazing. And I went home for about 45 days on a vacation. And then it was time for me to go to Korea. Now, mind you, I had never been on an airplane overseas.
Okay.
And for my first overseas destination, I'm going to Korea.
I'm sure it was South Korea, not North Korea.
It definitely was South Korea. It definitely was South Korea. And
Yes.
I went to we went to like Utah and Idaho, then Seattle, Washington, and yes, it rained. And then we went to Alaska, and then we flew to Japan.
Okay.
We went to Korea. I went to all those places in about relatively short period. It was cold some places, warm in other places. But now I'm in Korea. And I had my dog with me. I traveled and it changed my life. So suddenly I began to do that at 21. Fast forward, I became a military police dog handler. I went to school for it. Then I became a military police investigator, investigating crimes of
Okay.
victimization and assault, people being
Okay.
hit.
Yes.
And during that time, there was no computers. There was no
Yes.
internet. It was just typewriters. And initially, I could only type 40 words a minute. Now,
Wow.
suddenly, I can type 70 words a minute. So I was
Practice makes man perfect, right?
definitely, and I got very, very good. So I got better. Thank you.
James, you have no more breakfast and lunch. Just order your food.
All right, I will do so.
Okay. And your juice.
Okay,
No more.
okay, no problem. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
That's my
So
caregiver.
caring. So caring.
Yes.
Wonderful.
But I moved up.
Sorry.
It's okay. I moved up. I got very good, and now I'm teaching women rape prevention classes. I'm in my 20s,
Okay.
and I taught like a group of 30 people, 30 women, 30 women at one time by myself.
Amazing.
And I was a military police investigator. I'm going at night solving crimes. I'm doing all this stuff, and later on, I went to Germany after Korea.
Wow.
I stayed in Korea. Korea is only a 1 year time. You're only supposed to
Yes.
stay in Korea for 1 year, but I stayed for 3 years.
Amazing.
Then I went to Germany. Germany is a 3 year journey, and I stayed in Germany for 3 years. But then I thought to myself, I need to move up. We need to expand because I need to make more money. And in order for me to make more money, I have to change my job. So I became a drill sergeant.
Okay.
And I swore I would never, ever, 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 ever be a drill sergeant. But next thing you know, it's 1988.
Okay.
I'm going to be a drill sergeant. And so I became a drill sergeant. I did that for 3 years.
Hmm.
Only supposed to be for 2 years. But I'm hard headed. So I did it for 3 years.
Wonderful.
So then for the first time, I picked up weights, weight training. I'm lifting. I'm getting strong. I'm getting powerful. I felt good about myself.
Great.
And then it was time for me to leave again. I went to another country. I flew on a plane again. This time, it's time for me to go to Panama.
Panama. Okay.
Super warm. It was only supposed to go for 1 year. But
Okay.
you know the story behind that. I went for 3 years. I was in Panama for 3 years.
Okay.
And, well, talking about me, I'm 66 years old now.
Great.
I've been married 4 times.
Amazing.
And while after my first marriage, I got a divorce.
Okay.
She was Asian. She was
Oh,
Korean. My first two
great.
children, my first two children came from her. Our first two children came from her.
Okay.
So we got divorced, and I taught my children my mindset, my skill level, my desire to be better, to do more, to do much more. So then I got married a second time. This woman wanted me to leave the military. Now you
Oh.
mind, the military was my life. She wanted me to
It
leave.
was your fifth wife.
This is my second wife. She wanted me
No,
to
the
leave.
military is your another wife.
The military is my second wife. So she
Oh,
wanted me to leave my military career. And like
okay.
an idiot, like a fool, I listened to her. Why?
Okay.
Why?
Why?
Because I loved her. I loved
Okay.
her. I left the military. I stayed out in the military for about 8 years
Okay.
on an honorable discharge. Up until that time, I had 17 years, 4 months in the military. And I'm about maybe 4 years away from retirement. Yeah, 4 years away from retirement, I left the military. But then suddenly I thought to myself, you know what? I've been working on the outside. It's been nice, but I miss my brothers. I miss my friends. You know what? I'm going back in the military. I'm going back in the military. But I'm 46 now. And my wife at the time, well, she's my ex-wife now. She told me, she said, James, I don't think you're going to be able to go back in the Army again. Do you know how old you are? Yeah, I'm 46. You think they're going to let your 46-year-old body back in the Army? I said, maybe they will, maybe they won't, but I'm going to go for it anyway. My ex-wife is right. They didn't let me get back in the Army at 46. I got back in at 47. So I rejoined the Army at 47. And a buddy of mine, he saw a drill sergeant patch on my chest. He said, "You were a drill sergeant?" "Yeah." "You don't look too happy right now." "I'm not. I don't like the job I have right now. And my job that they put me in is checking the ground for oil and oil samples. That's not me. What if I could get you back to being a drill sergeant again?" "Sure. I'm 47, but I would do that in a heartbeat." "Okay." So he got me back in as a drill sergeant again at 47. So I
Great.
became a drill sergeant again at 47. And then I took classes to train people to be drill sergeants. Then it was time for me to go train people in the Navy as a drill sergeant. So
Wow.
now I had never been, I spent 21 years total time in the military, but I'd never been to combat. Never shot at another human being. Never was shot at by another human being. 21 years in the Army, because people would say, weren't you frightened? Weren't you scared that you would go to combat? Yeah, but honestly, I felt that I owed the military to go to combat because I sent many of my friends to combat. I trained many people to go to combat and they successfully got back to their family. But I never went. So I wanted to go. I felt I needed to go. My colonel, officer over me, he said, James, he said, Sergeant Saunders, I can appreciate you wanting to go to combat. I really do. I really do appreciate that. But let me tell you something. You're not going. You're
Okay.
not going to combat because you're training people and you're too good an instructor to go to combat. I said, okay.
Okay.
I never went. I stayed 4 more years and I retired from the U.S. Army. After I came back in, I recaptured rank and I retired at 51. I retired at 51.
Okay. So that was one unique feather in your cap that you never been to combat and you never fired a bullet on humans. So that was one feather, I think. Very unique
That's
feather in your cap.
definitely. I look back at that now. So you know what? Because many of my friends came back from combat.
Hmm.
Some of them came back from combat. They were missing limbs, been
Oh,
shot, mind problems.
yes.
I avoided all of that.
That's why you are happy and you are 66 and you are happy, right?
That's right.
Definitely. And those times which you said that late 70s, that was difficult time, especially in USA where, racial discrimination was very high in those times. So,
Yeah.
did you experience any kind of event where you were discriminated?
I experienced racial discrimination one time.
Okay.
It was in '79 actually,
Yes.
and to go downtown, it was in Alabama, which was another story. Another story.
Okay.
When you went downtown in Alabama, you were encouraged to never travel by yourself. You needed to
Okay.
always travel in a group. But I ended up going to dog training school. I met a young lady. I wasn't married yet.
Okay.
I met a young lady, and I went to the department store to buy this young lady's daughter, not mine. She wasn't mine.
I believe you, James.
Buy this young lady's daughter. She was 9 years old.
Okay.
Buy this young lady's daughter a Christmas present. That's okay.
Okay.
We can do that. So I bought
We
her a
can.
toy. I bought her a toy, and I go to the cashier to pay for
Okay.
this toy. And the racial discrimination came because the lady looked at me. She was looking down. Then she looked up at me. She saw me. She was Caucasian. She was white.
Okay.
She just looked at me. She didn't say anything. At the same time, behind me was a black lady who said, "Hey, sir, I'll take care of you over here." It's okay. So I pick up my toy for the little girl, and I go to her cash register. And the lady waits on me, puts my my toy, and we're getting ready to leave. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this woman? Then it hit me. And
Okay.
then it hit me like she was prejudiced. She was racially profiling me. Then I got angry, and I turned around to walk back to deal with this woman. I was
I
going
hope
to
you.
deal with this
I
woman.
hope you didn't do anything.
I wanted to, but my
Okay.
girlfriend at the time, she grabbed me. She grabbed me by the arm. She said, "James, it's not the time." It's not. But you know what she did? She, she, it's not the time. You don't need to do that. We need to leave. Okay, we'll leave. We'll leave. That's when I would realize. That's when it was my first situation with racial discrimination.
Yes. So, listening to you, there's a question in my mind that why we experience or why we see these things that when we are very angry and very furious, and we watched this in Hulk movie also. When Hulk is very furious, he became the Green Man, the Hulk, and only one woman is the person who can relax him down. So why is
Sure.
this happen then when we are furious? Only women can relax us down.
That's true. Actually, it could have been anybody. Anybody that had a mind. They were mindful. You know, they were
Okay,
mindful. And I listened to her because she was mindful. She was older.
definitely.
She was about maybe 2 years older than me, and she was very intelligent. I listened to her.
And when we are furious, our mind doesn't work very well. So we have to listen to others watch things from their perspectives to see clearly, right?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So, James, you have married 4 times, and we often listen and hear that if you make one mistake one time, you don't do that again. But you have done 4 times, so I would love to, know more about it. Why have you married 4 times?
Basically, I married 4 times because, as you stated, normally we as humans we're hard headed. We don't necessarily learn the way we should learn. We create, we do the very same thing that got us in problems the first time. My problem is that I was never by myself. I always had children around me, always had adults around me. I paid attention to people that wanted to minimize my success while maximizing their excuses.
Okay.
And I listened to them. We do that. We do that. You know,
Yes,
you we oh my goodness, we often do that. We often do that because I guess we're looking for a reason why something is not working. And so we
def-
think that if we listen to this person who hasn't had this, who hasn't had the circumstance, it's a wise thing to do. But it's not. It's not.
okay.
It would be like me going to somebody, say I come across, like I came across my business. And if you would have came to me back when I was making only $9 an hour, working
Okay.
33 hours a week, you can do the math for yourself. That ain't no money. So making that kind of money, why would I listen to somebody that is broke? Why would I search out somebody that's broke? Doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
everybody does that. It would be mindful, it would be smart to find somebody if money was my motivator, if money was a motivator, it would be more mindful and more profitable to me to find somebody that's making much more money than that. Because they've done it. I need to listen to them. I don't need to listen to this other person over here that's making this little bit of money. Like, doesn't make any sense. I need to listen to the person that's making that much money. I don't need to listen to somebody making that much money. That's what we do.
Okay. Wonderful. So James, you have been in military and you have never been to combat, so I assume that you are a peace-loving man who do not find wars and these military oppressive operations very well. So thinking about the situation right now we are experiencing in around us in the whole world, what do you think? How can we prevail peace in the world? Because as humans, our instinct is to live in peace. Humans do not like to live in situations, in wars, in bombings. We as an instinct we love peace. So why there is no peace in the world?
Basically, this is one set of people. This is
Hmm.
another set of people, right?
Okay,
We can come together like this, and nothing moves. This person over here doesn't move. Person over here doesn't move. We're like this. All we would have to do to move would be to be like this,
wonderful depiction. Wonderful depiction.
right?
Yes,
So that means that I have to have the power to listen to you, and you have to have the power to listen to me. If there's no listening, if we're always like this, no listening can take place. Nothing
definitely.
can take nothing can take place. But if we simply go like that, a lot can be done. We can talk to each other. We can listen to each other. Then that's how we can deal with it.
Okay, so you're emphasizing that we should listen to each other, we should respect each other perspectives, and we should respect each other right to live, right?
Right. Because yes, we should. Because I don't know about you, but me, I've learned, and not through 4 marriages, mind you, but I've learned I don't have time. Listen, I
Yes,
don't have time for negativity. I don't have time
great.
for if you're negative, I don't need to make time for you because I don't have
Def-
time for that. I only have time for the positive.
Definitely. James, staying resilient in order to achieve something is very important, because you have to face setbacks. You have to, face such failures also. So, how do you uh, advise us to stay resilient in our lives?
To stay resilient in our lives, my opinion,
Yeah,
is first of all, we need to know, we should know, we enable to know where we're going. So, for example, you live in Pakistan, right?
yeah.
What country would you like to go to?
I would love to go to Australia.
Okay. What direction is Australia from you? South,
Uh,
north, west, or east?
it's southeast.
So, if you're traveling northwest,
Okay.
would that be a good idea for you to go to Australia?
No.
So, first and foremost, you have to know where you're going.
Okay.
You have to. So, the first thing was, I asked you, what country did you want to go to? You would need to know that country. You said Australia. Then you would
Yeah.
need to know what direction. You said
Mm.
southwest,
Southeast.
southeast rather, southeast. Great. Then you have a chance of getting to Australia because you know where you're going, you have a goal, and your aspiration is to go southeast, right? That's your aspiration. We become empowered when we know where we're going and how we are to get there.
Wonderful. Great answer. Thank you so much, James. And we all have regrets in our lives, right? We have done things which in hindsight, we think we shouldn't have done that. So, how to, you know, come out of those regrets and do something better in our future?
Basically, yes, we all do have regrets in our life. Most of our regrets come from listening to other people who shouldn't even have an opinion about what we're doing. But we listen to
Really?
them. They shouldn't even have an. They shouldn't. We shouldn't ask them. They shouldn't
Okay.
even have an opinion about what we're doing. Our biggest regret comes from listening to another who is not in a position to help us.
And
Our
how we
business,
can find out that the person is not relevant to us?
right, exactly, exactly. We find out the person shouldn't even have an opinion about what we're doing. We listen to them. That's our choice.
Okay. So, James, I visited your profile, and I visited your YouTube channel also, and there are lots of videos where you're exercising, you're lifting weights, and you have shown your muscles very well. So, I would love to know how important is exercising and staying fit, especially in your 50s, because I think that age where you start, decreasing your body mass and other things. So, how important is that to stay fit?
Basically, one of the things I learned, especially when I retired from the U.S. Army, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at the age of 52. I still
Okay.
lifted weights, I still gained muscle, I still did all things, but it was different. I had to operate differently. And at the same time, that was when I was getting divorced from my second wife. So now I have
Okay.
two younger kids, two younger children. One was 12 and one was 14. I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, what am I going to teach my children now? What can I teach them now? Why would they need to listen to me now?
Hmm.
Well, the first thing I did was I was reading a very powerful book. It's called The Compound Effect. It's
Okay.
called The Compound Effect. And I thought, man, I think my children need to read this book because I think it would impact them. It would change their life. But like many parents, they might give their children a book to read. But that's not the way I want to do it. In my
Okay.
mind, I said, I'm going to give them this book to read, and I'm gonna give them a notebook apiece. And after every chapter, we're going to talk about every chapter. You're going to take notes on every chapter, and you're going to write down how you would use the chapter to change your life. Totally different. Because I operated that way, because I did things that way, my daughter went on to graduate with honors in a major university in pre med. My son went on to get a 4-year degree in exercise science. He became a big muscle guy.
Okay.
They went on YouTube, all this kind of stuff, because of how I chose to do things.
Wonderful, James. So, James, after that, you chose to be an entrepreneur and you have started a venture. So, would you let us know about your venture you started after that, and how did the idea come to you?
Well, the idea came to me basically two ways. I'd like to say three ways, but I had a gentleman that used to lives in Texas. He has multiple sclerosis as I do. He
Yes.
asked me, "Do you sell CBD?" I said, "What's CBD?" Do you know what
Yes.
CBD is? It's a cannabinoid that deals with the inflammation of your body. It helps you sleep better. It enables you to build more muscle tissue. You can do so much with CBD. I said, that sounds very good, but my company doesn't sell CBD. So then we ended our conversation. Then a few weeks later, another friend of mine contacted me by YouTube Messenger. He
Okay.
talked to me like we're talking right now.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of CBD? I said to him, I said, you too? You you guys with CBD, man. He said, look, you're in a business, right? I'm in a
Yeah.
business. I don't want to leave my business to join your business. But I promise you, I'm going to do some investigation. I'm going to investigate this. And I'll buy 3 bottles of CBD from you. If you promise me, if you promise me to never, ever, 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 ever ask me to be a part of your business. Ever. He said, no problem.
Uh,
No pressure. So I hung the phone up from him. And I went on the internet. I said CBD. I asked the question, what is the best CBD that you know? And a company came up called Hemp Works. Hemp Works.
yes.
Okay. What's the big deal about Hemp Works? I found out that they did $10 million in 2014. That's pretty good. But then I thought, wait a minute. A year later, they did $100 million, $10 million, $100 million. You got to be. They did $100 million. You want to leave me behind with this company? Oh no 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 no! I went on. Went to his page,
Okay.
and I joined his team that morning.
Okay.
I
Very
joined
quick decision.
I made a quick decision. I joined his
Yeah.
team. I called the next morning. He said, "Hey James, have you decided how many balls you're gonna get, man?" What? Bottles, smalls. Dude, I'm a part of your team, man.
I want to buy shares.
He was like, I joined the company
Wonderful.
and I went on to make, what did I make? Like $14,000, And I was already
Amazing.
making money anyway. But I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this because I believe in what they're doing. And I ran on to find out that the company sold CBD and it had the bottles they were selling. You empty the bottle out and you could send the bottle back to them and say it didn't work. And it would still give you money back. They had a
Okay.
60-day empty bottle guarantee. I said, who does that? What company?
Nobody.
Nobody does that.
I've never heard that guarantee.
That kind of guarantee, I joined the company.
So that's how they sure about that.
That's how they sure about it.
Wonderful. So James, you evolved with the evolution of internet and the technology, and now there's an AI also. So how have you find yourself, accustomed to technology? How did you, relate it to that, aligned yourself with the ever evolving technology in your life?
Basically, when I got in initially, when I first came in the army in 1979,
Yeah.
there were payphones. You had to put coins in the
Oh
phone
yes,
to call somebody.
yes,
You didn't have a
yes.
cell phone. There
No,
was no internet. There was
no.
nothing like that. AI wasn't even thought about.
Yes,
So suddenly, if I'm going to call you, you had to be very, very, very important for me to call you because
definitely.
I got to take money out of my pocket and put money
Yes,
in a phone and call you. So I got exposed to technology like about 1985. That's when I first saw the computers. I embraced it. There are people my age today that can't even go on the internet, can't even
definitely.
send email, don't know
Yes,
anything. But I embraced it very early, and so as they advanced, I advanced. They moved up, I moved up again, all the way till now. We're dealing with AI. My mentor's son, he does AI. Guess
amazing.
what?
Okay.
I now believe in AI because I look at what somebody's doing and I try to do what they're doing. Makes sense to me. It makes sense to me.
And how would you advise people who are in their 50s or 60s who are still afraid of technology and not aligning themselves with the technology and gadgets we are using nowadays? How would you advise them to be aligned with it?
Basically, all I could tell them is be first of all, when I was in the third grade,
Yeah.
I can speak now, right? But when I was in the third grade, I had a speech impediment. I
Okay.
stuttered very badly. I could not
Okay.
speak. So I had to read. I read everything. Many people today, they don't read. They can't read. And then later on, I began to look at YouTube video. I have YouTube Prime. I don't do commercials. I
Okay.
watch. I'll watch a whole video. I will listen to a podcast. It'll empower my mind.
Thank
Empower
you.
my mind.
Thank you so much, James. James, moving towards the conclusion, I would ask one or two last questions from you because you have given me your very precious 45 minutes until now. So, the best advice you have ever received in your life, and the worst advice you have ever received in your life. Would you like to share with us also?
Sure, sure. The best advice I could give anybody would be never allow another person to minimize your success
Okay.
while they maximize their excuses.
Wonderful.
The other
Amazing.
worst, worst, the worst advice I can give is always remember there are givers and there are takers.
Yes.
If you are a giver, understand what do givers attract?
Okay.
They attract takers. Givers attract takers. Not
Yes.
saying that you cannot be a giver. Just understand that if you are a giver, you need to be mindful that there are takers.
Okay. But my question was that what best advice you have ever received in your life from someone, which you really have in your mind fixed, and again the worst advice you have ever received from someone, which you think that this person has given you the worst advice in your life.
The best advice I could give, the best advice I received from a person was understanding that to never maximize, to never minimize, never allow another person to minimize your success, and never allow another person to maximize their excuses.
Okay, got it. Wonderful. So, James, a very last question, which is one of my favorite question. Any lesson you learned in your 20s you would like to share with us who are in their 20s would learn from you?
The most impressive advice I could give to somebody in their 20s would be to learn how to listen.
Okay.
Because you have two ears for a
Yes,
reason, you have one mouth for a reason. You have
definitely.
eyes to see in color, ears to hear in stereo, and one mouth. So learn how to listen.
Amazing, amazing. Wonderful. Thank you so much, James Saunders. That was a very, very well session, knowledgeable session. I really enjoyed that, really learned from you. I hope you had the same experience with me.
I did. It was wonderful. It was very mindful and very impactful.
Thank you so much, James. Thank you so much for doing this and for doing this for our school system, for doing this for our students also. You are very generous, very kind that you are investing this time in this mission, investing your time in this mission. So I thank you again. You are a great man, James. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you were watching and listening James Saunders, which is from Henderson, Nevada, and I hope you have enjoyed this session as much as I did, and you have learned so many things from James as I did. So I'll see you another time with another guest. Keep doing amazing things. Keep watching Empowering Minds to empower your minds. You can watch me on my YouTube channel, my Facebook, my Twitter, my LinkedIn, and on my Instagram in the name of Rahmat Empowerment Wala. So keep doing amazing things. Keep following James Sanders also. Saunders also. He's a very amazing man. So I'll see you next time. Keep doing amazing things. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.